Thanks, Bobby.
Yeah, no problem. Sorry, I'm not there. Like I said, I'm here, but I'm not here. It says we're live, so
Okay.
since everybody can hear me, I am hunkered down, and we are dealing with stupid weather. So,
Oh, live. Oh, let me pause the background. Sorry. Thanks, Bobby.
all right. So, Eddie, nice to see you. I'll talk to you guys soon.
Okay.
Stay safe, Thanks, buddy. Bobby.
Yeah, thank you.
Bye. Bye. All right. Well, we made it. Welcome to Area 51 Racing Podcast. Chrissy and Scott here. Bobby is not with us. He popped in for a minute. Technical difficulties solved. He's got some storm activity, tornado things, no fun. So Scott and I are going to be here doing this one, just the two of us. And I believe Scott's got some info on our guest today.
Yeah, Chrissy, we got the man, the myth, the legend. I'm going to call him because he is definitely an eye in the sky in NASCAR world. But before he was a spotter, let's dive back in a little history for him, Eddie DeHunt. 1981, he started his street stock career at Isotope Speedway and Riverhead Raceway up in the Northeast up here. 1986, he moved to the NASCAR Wheel and Modified Tour. In 1996, he moved to Charlotte, began his stellar NASCAR career with Harry Ranier. He has worked for Ray Abraham as a GM. 2021, he did these first Daytona 500 race spotting. He has spotted for drivers such as Kyle Busch, Jeff Gordon, Chase Elliott, Cole Custer, Ryan Preece. He's done the Rolex 24 with a Ferrari team. He is now working currently with Corey Heim for 12 races leading into the 2027 NASCAR season. He also is the full-time spotter as long as his schedule allows for Justin Allgaier. He is a 2020 champion with Chase Elliott. Eddie, I had to say, my man, you got a lot of boxes checked off in your career here. What's left for you to accomplish with your stellar career so far in NASCAR?
Wow, that's a good one. I'm not sure. Um, I would like to win another Cup championship. I think, just like Chase did, I think Corey Heim can do that as well, just like he did. And I hope to be around to see that happen. Um, I think he's got all the tools to do that. Um, but other than that, I wouldn't mind winning the Daytona 500. That one's eluded me. I finished second a couple times. Ran out of gas with a lap to go with Chase. Uh, yeah, so that would be cool. But other than that, I don't. I mean, both my sons have jobs in NASCAR, real good jobs, good families, good homes. It's been good to me. I don't have any complaints, or I'm not unfulfilled. Let's say that. I've had quite the career and been very lucky. I think I worked with 5 Hall of Fame drivers and probably another 3 before it's over. Uh, so I don't know. I've been blessed.
Yeah, definitely got that Hall of Fame driver box checked off pretty good. You got, one Jeff Gordon. You got a future Hall of Famer, definitely with Kyle Busch, and I fully believe that Chase Elliott will be in the future a Hall of Famer as well. So I definitely agree with you there. Um, wow, Chrissy, he's got a lot on his resume. I mean,
I told you.
Well, I mean, you're leaving out Dale Jarrett and Bill Elliott too. I mean, there's a lot to me that maybe it's even on the internet you just don't find out all of it. I was a car owner for a while, uh, in every single series, including the Cup Series for one race. I don't know. I've GM'd several big teams. I'm happy with how it's all gone, and there's been some pitfalls and some upswings, but uh, I got a championship with Kyle Busch. I got one with Justin and one with Chase. Um, I mean, I think anyone in this business, if they could walk out with 3 championships in some kind of degree, they'd be pretty happy.
That could definitely end. That is the way you want to go up. You have so much more left in you, so you can only add to it. What has been so all these races you spotted for? Is there one specific race that sticks out that was maybe your most difficult, whether that's on track or situations outside of the race itself?
where it was difficult or disappointing or?
Either one, whatever sticks out to you the most.
I think the wreck with Ross Chastain at Phoenix that took us out of the championship probably bothered me the most because I probably could have done a better job in that instance. Um, Sometimes things happen so darn fast. By the time you get something out of your mouth, it's over. Um, so you learn to talk quick and have short, abbreviated words. But yeah, I think that would be the one instance or one of them. But listen, if you are a spotter and you are in the bee's nest of a lot of these races, uh, you're gonna make mistakes along the way. I don't care who you are, and everybody has, and so I'd have to say I'm lucky. I've had my share, but not many, and not many in big moments. So I hope that answers your question.
Eddie, it is a great point. I'm a dirt driver. You run. We don't run spotters, and listening to you Saturday at Martinsville, which, from what I understand, is one of your favorite tracks, along with Bristol. Um, you're so calming on the radio. Like, you give a lot of great information. You're calming, and you, we had this conversation a little bit offline. You know, you're supposed to keep the driver level. Have you ever had a moment where you found yourself outside of your character as calming and got a little riled up because of a driver's actions towards your driver?
Oh, several. Why, yeah, more than several. There's no way you can. I mean, if you have a pulse in this business and you want to win, um, that is absolutely going to happen. But you try and keep it to a minimum, and you try and stay professional, represent the team that's you're working for properly, the sponsors. But yeah, I mean, even the drivers do, and crew chiefs do, and I can remember at Pocono one year when Alan and Jeff were at each other's throat. I just had to get in between them verbally. Uh, it happens. Look, we get paid a lot of money to go out and perform for companies and for car owners, and so if you don't have the will to win or the fire in your belly, then you probably shouldn't be doing this. And sometimes that fire comes out, and it should. It's quite normal. I mean, if you can get in an NFL huddle, imagine what you'd hear there. Same thing, you know.
Yeah. Okay.
Let's see. So speaking of getting passionate, have you ever found yourself, do you ever have an issue if you're driving in traffic? You ever just kind of want to do a little move, get someone out of your way, or are you able to like disconnect from like racing brain? I guess that's more like, I guess as a driver, that kind of thought. Because there's a couple times I'm driving and I'm like, man, if only I could just you right out of the way.
Oh yeah, I think most people on the road don't know how to drive. My
Mhm.
wife thinks she's a better driver than me and tries to tell me how to drive every time when she gets in the car with me. I think she's my spotter,
Nice.
but I do the same to her. So I think it's being fair. But I drive like a grandpa. Honestly, I drive. I'm done driving fast. I did my driving time, and I just part along to get where I gotta go to.
Cruise control is your best friend.
Yeah, yeah.
So, Eddie, you mentioned that you were a team owner at one point. I know you did have an ARCA team. You ran some Busch Series races back when it was Busch Series, with the 91 car number. I know Kyle Busch drove for you at Watkins Glen, I believe it was. I saw. What, as a team owner, do you cherish as the moment? What was some of those moments like for you?
Well, yes, I had an ARCA team, and then Tommy Baldwin and I started a Bush team, and we called it Tommy Baldwin Racing. We set up in a little corner in Bill Davis's shop, and he called it Totally Borrowed Racing. He renamed it. TBR was Totally Borrowed Racing because we borrowed everything he had, uh, which was really nice of him. He really treated us good. And we worked really hard at building that. Wally Downback, Joe Frost, David Green, Damon Lusk. It was just really not economically a very good time. The country was struggling and sponsorship was struggling. But we kept it going and we sold it to Ray Everham. Actually, we sold our team to Ray Everham, and he took that and started an Xfinity team with it as a lead in for young drivers to drive his cup cars. And then I did a cup deal, a one-off cup deal at Sonoma with Mark Goosens. That was the 91, who is a European road course racer. But that was pretty much my car owner time frames. I had my own family team where we did some start and park stuff with David Gillen and Danny O'Quinn for a while. But again, it wasn't very long. But we had a lot of good people there. Actually, Cliff Daniels came and worked for me. His very first job in NASCAR was with that team, where he would come from Virginia on weekends and stay with my boys, my sons, and travel with us. And he didn't want to get paid; he just wanted to learn. And from there, when we shut down, I plugged him into Kyle Busch's truck team, and that's where his career took off.
So how does it,
You-
sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead, Chrissy.
I was gonna say, so how does it make you feel, if any kind of way, seeing his success now, knowing that you kind of helped him and saw the talent in him enough to kind of help him get a start, and how far he's come with all the success, you know?
Yeah, that's a good question. It's kind of funny because Tommy Baldwin brought myself and Steve Park and Kevin Bono Mannion and a couple other guys to Charlotte in '96, and that's when we went to work for Harry Ranier, and Steve went to drive for Dell Senior. And we all lived in the same house. We called it Camp Chaos because it was. Um, and so the amount of people that Tommy has brought into this business, and then I did on my own, like I bought Greg Zipadelli to the South to work as a shot guy for Buddy Parrott, and then look at his career. We all have very big tentacles. Jim Pullman, who I just finished the tour with Justin Allgaier as the crew chief, I went to open up the doors at Bill Elliott Racing one morning early, like 6 a.m, and he was sleeping at the front door with a blanket on him because it was cold.
Wow.
And so I kicked him to wake him up, not knowing who he was or anything about him. And I said, "Why are you sleeping by the door?" He says, "I didn't want to miss you when you got here." So we opened up the door, we went inside, and look at him now. He's crew chief for Kyle Busch. He won a championship with Justin. He didn't have a bank account. He didn't have a place to live. He had nothing. He had his toolbox and his pickup truck in the driveway. So stories like that are pretty awesome, and there's a lot of them. So it makes me, I feel good about, that all of us have given a lot of people a lot of avenues to have a living, to have families, to do what we all love to do. It's been pretty good.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Chrissy, I'm speechless because
I can see you thinking. I can see the thought process. That's why I was waiting.
yeah. Eddie, I have to say, like, I didn't know all that and how humbled you've been. Like, I'm thoroughly impressed and grateful to have now met your presence and everything. And as a race fan, as a driver myself, like hearing what you've done for crew members, for just everyday guys who took a chance and moved south and won it with a toolbox and a truck, and now he's probably one of the best crew chiefs in the Xfinity garage. Sorry, O'Reilly's garage. For me, that's huge, and the humbleness you have is, I'm shocked and and at the same time, I'm not shocked because Chrissy has told me a little bit about you, and just to have the career you've had is just mind blowing. And like I had all this information, you kind of just blew me out of the water because you you've actually done more than I could ever dream of. Like I'm just grateful that I get to go out and run a 602 crate against 358 limited late models up here in Pennsylvania and have a good time. And here you're living my dream, and it's awesome. But you said you moved to Charlotte to work for Harry Ranier. And I know you were a driver in NASCAR for the Wheel and Modified Tour. How come you stopped being a driver and went the crew side of it? What made you change paths, so to speak?
Yeah, well, quite honestly, I got divorced, and so when I was driving, I couldn't do that anymore because I had to divide my assets, as most men have to do when that happens. And so instead of sitting around, Tommy Baldwin Sr. was kind of my mentor, so I traveled with them, working with them for, I don't know, maybe a year or so, maybe 2 years. Uh, and then Tommy moved south for a couple of months and got hooked up with Harry Ranier, and then he called me to come down. So I sold my business and moved tail end of '96. And that's what got all of that started. And I was in Charlotte until just recently. So maybe 29 years. Just recently, my wife and I moved to Arizona. We're in Arizona now. We live in Goodyear, Arizona, in a really pretty amazing community. So we're pretty happy.
It's a big
So
change
Eddie,
from Island. I'm just saying, because me and Eddie are both from up in New York. So that's a big
New
change.
York.
Island to Charlotte to Arizona.
Yeah.
Ooh.
So
Eddie,
I didn't want to be like 99.9% of the East Coast people that move to Florida and die in the humidity. So
Yep.
we had off 2 weeks for the Olympics, and my wife said, "Hey, let's go to a couple cities that you like going to when you travel." So we first went to the Dallas-Fort Worth area and looked at a development that we really liked, and then we came to Arizona, and we had a hard time deciding if we liked either one of them and we wanted to move, but we did like them. Uh, and we kind of put, like most people do, the pros and cons. The summers here are pretty tough heat wise, but it is a lot different without the humidity.
The dry heat, they say, right? It's a dry
It
heat.
is hot is hot. Don't get me wrong. 110 is 110, but if you take the humidity out of it, it's probably like 94 in Charlotte. You know what I mean, or on the East Coast. So it's hot, and it's hot for a long period of time. I think like last week we had 101, and today's probably 93 already. And it'll stay that way until October. So you get used to it after a while. It's not bad, but we're very blessed. And now I travel commercially instead of on private jets.
Oh, okay. Changing it all up. It's a whole new thing.
Yeah, it is quite different.
Oh,
Eddie,
that's
is there any thought of putting the helmet back on and doing some racing again? Maybe just to get the itch.
Heck
Yeah, the
no.
itch is there.
I am way too old for that. I mean, I like getting on a go-kart track once in a while, but no, definitely not racing. I live my racing through the guys I work with now.
too
Okay.
dangerous. You never know what could happen.
Yeah.
This is true. This is so true. You mentioned that you're working with Corey Heim for 12 races in the 2027. Well, I mentioned that, but you let us know. What is he like to work with as such a young talent? Like he is, I shouldn't call him a talent. I should call him a phenom because that boy can drive. He can drive
Yeah.
anything.
So I'm getting to know him, and everything I get to know, it doesn't surprise me. the consummate student of the game, like a sponge, want to learn, want to know everything possible. But yes, when his race acumen, keyword acumen, has impressed me since the first time I saw him race. I get to see a lot of kids. I mean, if you wanted me to sit here and rank the kids, I could do it in 3 seconds. Because I watch all of them every single weekend. I watch how they carry themselves. I watch how they race. I watch how they came up through the systems, what they did to get there, how humble they are, how they represent themselves. And between him and Connor Zilic right now, and maybe Jesse Love, everybody else is a far second. This kid is going to be phenomenal. And I don't say that ever. He's that good.
Wow. That's some high praise because I don't think.
I've never said that about anybody. He's that good. Now, look, once I started working with Chase, and I worked for Chase's parents, I ran their company. I was their GM for several years. So I held Chase in diapers and I watched him grow up. And so I had a love for him before I even started working with him and their family. And I still do. We're still good friends. We still trade texts once in a while. But like in all relationships, I was the only you're only guy in the guy's ear for 8 years, and at that point, he was struggling figuring out this next gen car. It was time for change. It happens. It happens. I mean, some of my best friends up top have done 6 years with a guy, and they move on. It's just all part of our business. But yes, you could see earlier that Chase was going to be special. Then the car threw him for a challenge, and now he's recovering on that as we see his zeal to want to drive this car and to want to learn it and want to compete. I think he went through a period of time where he didn't like it and he was pissed. Not pissed at a certain entity or a certain person, just pissed that it was a challenge that was giving him fits. And now he's figured it out. And so he will continue on to be as good as everybody expected him to be. But this other kid, I've yet to see him get in something and not be good right out of the box. He's really good. Now, look, that doesn't mean he's not going to struggle and have a learning curve like you see most kids do. Jumping from the Truck Series to the Cup Series is really difficult. It's not been done by many. Greg Biffle, you don't see many guys go from trucks right to Cup Series and be successful. It's going to take him some time, but once he gets it figured out, he's going to be really fun to watch. And I think
I
we'll
think
see
he's fun
Connor
now.
Zilic go through that for a while too.
I think looking at the future of right now, within the next 5 years of the Cup Series with what's in the O'Reilly Series, I definitely agree with you. Jesse Love is a special talent. You can see it in Connor Zilic. You can see it in Corey Heim. But in the Truck Series, do you see anybody that's got the same fire and passion as those three
It's
right
not
now?
just, yeah, good question. It's not just about fire and passion. It's about how quick you pick up how to race in that series, your steps of progression. Like, are you making progress? Are you getting better? Are your results getting better? Are you putting in the work? Uh, I mean, to be the best, you got to outwork everybody else and let your talent display that. Um, in the Truck Series currently, and I'd have to sit and think about it. I mean, I have an old saying that many are called, but few are chosen.
Mm,
Absolutely. That's
mm.
good because a lot of people can try, but a lot of people also will fail. But a lot of those that continue on despite some of their struggles. And, some people have more means and things like that. But for the most part, yeah, some people give up too easily. And you mentioned earlier that, you reminded us that you'd also spotted for Bill. Did you notice any similarities or stark differences between spotting for Bill and Chase? Obviously, they're two different people, but I don't know if there was anything they shared similarly.
They're so more alike than anyone would ever realize. There's no doubt that Chase is Bill's son. Very, very similar.
Yeah.
Driving, growing up, Chase learned an awful lot from his dad, even how he carries himself personally. Very, very similar. But I will say this, Cindy had a lot to do with raising Chase too. They're amazing parents. Really. They raised a good kid. He's a wonderful young man.
That's awesome. I can respect that because I have two boys. They are 10 and 12. My youngest is his dream is to race, and his favorite driver is Denny Hamlin. So, he's not terrible. But yeah, so I'm, trying to raise two boys, and how do you do that while letting them be themselves? And I can understand and respect what kind of dedication and love it takes, not only to raise someone, but to raise them with intention of um, being an upstanding citizen, which is something I work on all the time. But if you weren't spotting, is there anything else in NASCAR you'd want to do, or do you feel like you've I know we kind of brought that up, but is there anything else you'd want to do, even if it's outside of NASCAR, for your bucket list, or would you just, when you're done, retire and relax?
I don't know. I think I've done everything I would want to do. I mean, somebody may put something in front of me before it's all over that I'd say, okay, I might want to do that, but I don't know. I really do enjoy what I do. I mean, heck, the last 2 weeks I've had to take red eyes in the middle of the night and get up, land at 6 in the morning, drive straight to the racetrack, and I got 4 more of them coming up. And so, the time change is 3 hour time zone. So, that puts your body through a lot of, I don't even know how to explain the craziness. So if I didn't love what I do and didn't get so much joy out of it, people would think I'm nuts. But I really do love what I do. And honestly, I love the kill. And the kill is the
Mm,
win. Right.
mhm.
So um, there's some wins I get really animated about because they were more of a struggle. Like maybe a speedway win, or when Justin won at Martinsville, or when Chase had to win back to back so we could go to the championship round. A lot of people don't know that or don't remember it. But the year Chase won the championship, we had to win 2 races in a row to do it. We had to win Martinsville or we were out.
I remember that.
And we won Martinsville and then we won Phoenix the next week. So, I mean, those kind of wins you're going to get more excited about. Chase's first win at Watkins Glen. I mean, not that any win isn't special because it might be your last one. You don't know. So, but yeah, um, I don't know. I think I'm pretty content. I think my bucket's pretty full, and I'm lucky. I'm very lucky that it is.
I would say it's definitely a nice full bucket and a fun life.
Big full bucket. That bucket's overflowing.
Yeah.
Overflowing.
Yeah.
Eddie, you mentioned the November race at Martinsville in 2020 to win it to get in. I was at that race, and I will tell you, I watched Chase's driving and how smooth he was. He really impressed me. How confident with the amount of pressure he had, how confident and calm he was, and how he was fast.
Yeah.
And then we come home and we watch Phoenix, and here he's the champion in 2020, and I'm like,
We had to start in the back. Yeah.
what just happened?
Yeah. Yeah. That's how it is. I mean, yeah, Martinsville's been pretty special. I mean, Jeff Gordon's last win there was pretty interesting night. Um, I think deep down in his heart, he knew that was going to be his last win. Uh, but to go out a winner and end his career that way was pretty freaking awesome, and to be a part of that with him. The party that we had after Homestead that his wife put together was pretty phenomenal. In Miami to end his career, I don't think I'll ever forget that. Um, You know, and
Surprise
also being
you.
part of Dale Jarrett's last win at Talladega, Bobby Labonte's last win, I I could keep sitting here and keep coming up with things that have been pretty special. Bobby Labonte was a really good guy to me for several years. Dale Jarrett the same. It's funny because Dale is out here with me, and when he does the second half year with NBC, we run into each other early in the morning on planes, and I just laugh because we had so much fun. And now we're just passing the wind, getting on an airplane, still doing what we love to do. So life's pretty goofy sometimes.
So we do have a question in the text line, and I'm not sure who asked this, but Eddie, if there was a chance for someone to spot in a lower division, like a local racetrack or maybe even ARCA, right? What would be one thing you would recommend to them?
Um, watch previous races and try and sit there and figure out what they would be saying while they're watching the race. And then spend time with the team so that they can get to know him or her. And then, a lot of it is developing relationships, and then hopefully they give him a chance to do more and then keep honing the craft to move forward. Ironically, I get a lot of people that DM me that same question. Uh, so, you laugh when people laugh, but if you love racing, it's actually a pretty good job. Uh, I mean, the travel, okay, can be tedious at times. The schedule is long, but uh, we have, and I say we, there's maybe 20 of us that have been around 15, 20 years, some more, that have helped grow the pay scale over the years to where now it's a growing job because 10 years ago the crew chiefs were guys that were racers, and now the crew chiefs are engineers. And when that happened, it started changing the spotter's job because when the guys that were crew chiefs, they talked a lot more on the radio. And when the guys that are engineers, they're spending a lot of time looking at data. And so that opened up an avenue, osmosis wise, where the spotter started being more of a communicator to the driver. And now we're looking at SMT during practice and talking about braking and rubber build and lines and how far someone's carrying the accelerator into the corner. So we're more and more growing to be a bigger part of the performance side just by happenstance, and that has now raised the pay scale for our jobs to a point where it's nowhere near what it once was, and now it's paid fairly nicely, and you can make a living and enjoy racing. So I understand people wanting to get involved in it at lower levels now.
Is there anybody that you worked with on the spotter stand in all those years that you butted heads with, or maybe team issues amongst your team and another team that you had to deal with or navigate through during races?
No, not really. I can't say that that's the case. I mean, look, I'm not going to tell you that over the course of 20, 25 years up there, 100 or so races a year, that you don't get angry with somebody. I mean, heck, we're all human and we're all competing, right? But nothing ever extravagant. Now, I'm not going to tell you I haven't seen that happen because I have. Uh, but no, we're really a pretty tight knit group. I mean, we spend so much time with each other. We used to spend a whole lot more time when we practiced a lot more. Uh, but I think the brethren up there is the employer for each of us because we're going to be the ones to, when the driver asks, "Hey, who can I get for spotter?" We're going to be the ones promoting the guy standing next to us, and that's generally how it works.
Have you ever seen anything crazy from up there? I know you said that you may have seen a little scuffles, anything wild fan wise or anything else?
Well, Timmy Feederwood threw a sandwich off the pagoda at Indianapolis one year and landed at the track president's feet as he was walking into the pagoda. He didn't do it on purpose. He threw it to somebody that was supposed to catch it and they missed it. So that was pretty interesting. I don't know. We've had some instances, but just in-house goofiness.
Wow.
I could see I
What
could
would-
see again thinking going, so I was waiting to see
Oh
what you-
yeah, because there's so much he's said that I can go with, and I'm just like mind blown with his experience and level of everything that he's gone in detail. You know, Eddie, what would be, if you could go out with a bang, right, and it'd be your last race you were ever gonna spot, what race would you want to spot and why?
Next year's Daytona 500 because that's the one I haven't won. I've won every single race at every racetrack except for that one.
So the
All right, we'll
500
put it
on
up.
the 500, let's hope the shot's called that, we're seeing the car that Eddie DeHunt is spotting for pulling the victory lane, because that would be pretty special. I ain't gonna lie, I think I would be pulling for that car too. I don't care who it would be.
Yeah.
Eddie, have you ever been, given a replica of the Martinsville clock for one of your first Martinsville win?
I'm looking at it right in front of me.
Oh, no
Jeff-
way.
So Jeff Gordon, when he won his last race, we all got clocks. And when I went to pick it up, we're supposed to pay a discounted price. And I don't really know that I want to tell everybody this, but I guess I'm gonna because it already started. When I went to pick it up, the person that handed it to me said, "Your driver's a pretty special guy. Just take it and get on out of here." So
Wow.
yeah, it's right in front of me. So
As
yeah,
a Jeff Gordon, that's pretty awesome. As a Jeff Gordon fan, growing up as a Jeff Gordon fan, that race was very special for me because it was my first time at Martinsville. Um, it was probably the most intense race I've ever saw because I never thought Matt Kenseth was going to wreck Joey Logano like he did, and to be there to watch Jeff win his last race, as old as I was, and I'm not going to put my age out there because I was not going to do that. I bawled. I bawled.
yeah,
Because I've seen his whole career. I watched his first win, his second win. I've seen him win at Pocono, and then to sit there and be like, man, I'm live in person watching his potentially last race, and it's a win, and it was special for me. So hearing you guys got a clock, all of you guys, that just solidifies how special of a person Jeff really was and what he's done for the NASCAR community.
yeah. Amazing guy, amazing guy, a guy's guy. You know what I mean? He's a man's man, and always has treated me with the utmost respect and friendship. It's something I'll never forget. My time with him was pretty special.
Awesome. What do you think? Okay, so how do you think, speaking of Jeff Gordon, how do you think he's fitting in now that he's been doing a couple years now, working higher up in Hendrick? Do you think you're seeing some progress from him being there, or do you think the team's just gelling more?
I think he loves it. I mean, when you have such a career like he had, and you got to figure out, okay, I love this sport. I want to see how I can fit in. He did I think he spent 5 years as a broadcaster with Fox, waiting for HMS to evolve to where he could fulfill a role, and it all worked out. And I think that was the plan with Mr. H and him all along. Um, and I think he's doing a great job. I mean, it's not easy. I mean, at several teams, I've had that job or a job similar to that, so I understand what it takes every day. Um, you don't sleep a whole lot because your mind never shuts down, and there's a lot to it because it's not just the performance side; it's the business side as well. Uh, there's a lot of politics involved and people issues involved, and I think he's doing a great job. Um, Chevrolet's dealing with a new body this year, and I think they're starting to get a handle on it. And I think as the year goes on, I think that will get a better situation for them. But uh, I think Jeff's doing great, and I think he's loving every minute of it.
I agree. We've touched on your NASCAR career and what you've accomplished, but a lot of people don't know that you did race in the '80s and straight stocks, and you did the NASCAR Wheel of Modified. What was that era like for Eddie DeHunt? What do you remember most about that, and
It was
what do you miss
crazy.
the most?
Yeah, no, it was crazy. I didn't have anything. I was a baseball player. I played sports, football, baseball, soccer. I just went to the races and watched every week with my dad. My grandfather raced, uh, but I didn't really get to see that. I saw little clips of homemade movies and stuff, but nothing big. And so one day I decided to do it. I went to Sears and bought a Craftsman welder. I rented a garage from a lady that needed some money, and I started buying tools, and I didn't know what the heck I was doing. But my godfather was he owned a body shop, and he was pretty well into NASCAR racing in the modified series. So I went to him and I said, "Hey, I want to do this," and he said, "Okay." That's all he needed to hear, and he had his guys weld roll cage in the Mustang that I bought off of somebody and stripped down, and he told me where to go get a starter motor. And I remember the first trailer I got, I had to weld and put together, and it broke on the way to the track because I didn't do a very good job of welding it. So it was a crazy start to say the least, but that's how we got started. And then once, like anything else, if you have enough drive, I started learning and asking a lot of questions and making changes. And before I knew it, I was racing for late model championships and not so much in the modifieds. I struggled in the modifieds. The open wheel tires threw me for a loop in the beginning because I was so used to leaning on people with fenders. But I had a couple good days here and there. Um, Not quite the same as what I had in late models, but nevertheless, the love for the sport, I just kept going, and that led to me coming down south. But
So you mentioned you were a late model guy
yeah,
with fenders, the fender crews we call us. What did you think of Lee Pulliam getting his shot Saturday at Martinsville with Junior Motorsports?
I don't know Lee Pulliam from the shirt you got on, but I love everything about him. And
Oh, this is Devin Moran's shirt. This is a dirt
yeah,
racing
yeah.
shirt.
But I'm just
Yeah.
saying, I don't know him at all from Adam. All right, to coin a phrase, I don't know him from Adam. I know of him and his greatness and what he's accomplished. But how he carries himself and how he races, I love everything about it. And so we traded a couple of, quick comments on Instagram, and just because I might have liked something he did or said, and he did the same with me. And then when I heard that Dale was giving him an opportunity, I was so happy for him. And actually, this weekend on the podium, Dale and I were talking, and I said I felt so bad for Lee on that restart where he missed the gear. I said, but he did such a phenomenal job. And Dale said, "Oh my God, I'm so happy with what he did today." And I hope he gets another chance. I thought he was a great car owner for Butterbean. Uh, I just like everything he does. I mean, he's a good family man. Christian guy. I mean, I'm a big fan.
Well, I got the pleasure of watching him as a kid race a late model stock car around the South down, Virginia area, and was super humbled to see him get a shot. And I was pulling for him, and I was like, when he missed his shift, I was like, blew it. There we go. Something happened. And but I was glad to see him still finish in the top 5, and I hope Dale does give him another shot, because I think Lee could actually get a O'Reilly's win. He's
Yeah.
that talented on a short track.
You gotta take your hat off to Dell too, because it costs money to do this kind of stuff. And you look at Josh Berry, where he's at today, and I did a year with Josh Berry and talked to Dell quite a bit about Josh as I was transitioning working with him. Loved every minute of it. He's a racer, just like Lee is. And you just think of all the people that Dell and Kelly and LW have given opportunities to, that may not have a sponsor in their pocket or enough money to run a bunch of races. I just think it's awesome. They're giving back to the sport and to people that they see are worthy of them helping, and I think it's phenomenal. I mean, Bubba Pollard a year ago got to race Richmond. I mean, I just think the world of, they're giving back to the sport that helped them and their family get to where they are, and I just think it's awesome.
Here, I fully agree. Dale Jr. has done. Him and his sister Kelly and LW over there at Junior Motorsports have done such a great thing, and I look forward to seeing more of what Dale brings to the short tracks in NASCAR. And hopefully it's another shot for Lee, but that's just me being a fan of Lee from growing up. But just so great to hear how good everything is. But Eddie, I want to thank you for answering all my questions, and I felt like I kind of interrogated you a little bit, but I definitely had a wonderful conversation on my end. And is there anything that we missed that you want to talk about briefly?
No, I think you did great. You covered a lot of yards, and I appreciate your time, and I really enjoyed it as well.
Well, I appreciate you agreeing to come on. Since I reached out, I had spoken to you actually right after you guys won the championship with Chase last time. So I appreciate you agreeing to come on. Hopefully we will be able to get you back so Bobby can be part of it and we can pick your brain some more, maybe towards the end of the season or next year, so we have some more stuff to talk about.
Okay.
Awesome. Well, I think that about does it. We appreciate you, Eddie. I hope you have a
Thanks.
wonderful evening, and
You
we will
too.
talk soon.
Okay, thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
All right, so since Eddie has just left, we are going to wrap up. We appreciate your patience with us as we handled this without Bobby. I think we kept the ship afloat, but I am going to do a little thank you to the sponsors. I did not have that. All right, here we go. So thank you also for you guys listening and watching. Thank you to Spartan Waste, Fox Sports Spartanburg, Belcher's Cheesecake, Anamore Designs, Action RV, Circle B Diecast, Matrix, Race Day Authentics, Alliance Driveway Solutions, Madman Designs, Runner's Roost, and Shansabak Landscaping, and of course, Club Racing International. I hope I got them all. If I messed it up or mispronounced, I apologize. Doing our best. And Scott, anything you want to add?
No, I we got to talk to the man, the myth, the legend, as Eddie. I called Eddie, and what a great humble guy. And wow, just so much information he threw out, and I was like, well, there goes. He's just so in depth, and Chrissy, what a great guy, and I hope
I knew you guys would love him.
I hope everybody has a wonderful week. Bobby, hope you're being safe there, my friend. Everybody, if you celebrate Easter, have a happy Easter. If not, have a great weekend, everybody. We'll see you in 2 weeks, and we'll be dropping, our guest here with